Hi, and welcome to this episode of Victory Talk with Latasha White. So today I have the esteemed pleasure of interviewing my friend, Mrs. Precious Jones. And really like I told you guys last week, I really want to talk to other people about how they walk out victoriously every day, because we all wear different hats. None of our walks look the same, right? And so what I wanted to talk to Precious about is the many hats that she wears and how she's able to still walk out victoriously no matter what. So when I met her, she was receiving an award for the many hats that she wears. And then fast forward a few months after that, she was instructing a Kangoo bounce class at a retreat that I went to, and we got to be cabin mates and got to know each other from there. So I want to ask you, Miss Precious, about the many hats that you wear. So introduce yourself and let us know who you are from wife on down.
Hello, I am Precious Jones. I will start at the top. I am a child of God. I am a wife of 7 years, 13 years together. I have 3 children, 21-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. I am also a chief of police at Paramount Charter Schools. I am also a social worker, and I am also an entrepreneur, Kangoo bounce instructor.
You get all that? I mean, and we all wear a lot of hats, but I mean, come on, those are big hats that you have to show up every day with. And so in being able to show up every day, wearing whatever hat you're required for that day, multiple hats during different times of the day.
Right.
How are you able to walk out victoriously? What do you do for you to make sure you're able to walk out with those hats in the way that you're called to?
Well, first, I try not to roll out of bed without spending a little time in prayer. I do every morning. I just wake up and it's just an automatic at this point in my walking of life. It hasn't always been there. But just every day I wake up and, I spend time in prayer and then get back to reality of, okay, what do I have to do today? Mm-hmm. So I get up in the morning. First of all, one of the first people I see is my husband, of course, and then my children. And then we just, in our house, it's a ritual. You have to say good morning. If you do not, I will say, good morning. So funny story behind that.
Go ahead.
So my daughter was in high school several years ago, and she got up with a little attitude that morning, and it was snowing real bad outside, and there was a delay. Well, she walked right past me and didn't say good morning. So I forgot to tell her that there was a delay at school, 2 hours, so she went out to the bus stop. And she came back in, and I was like, good morning. So it's very important that, I address my children address me. We talk, we communicate, I just like to get them pepped up for the morning so they can have a better day in school.
That's awesome. And I can definitely attest to, I have texted her on more than one occasion and incidentally forgotten to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. And I just have a tendency to jump in with whatever. And she will just reply with, good morning. So absolutely, yes, manners matter. Manners do matter.
Come on. Let's say hello first.
Right. So we've talked a lot about being able to serve from your overflow because, with all the things that you do, it's not easy. You were in part of the state police for 9 years.
9 years.
Mm-hmm. And then, being a mother and a wife and all these things, that's a lot. So how do you keep your cup full and serve from your overflow?
It's something I've learned into. I have stepped back a lot because I was trying to hold down 3 jobs, which was a full-time police officer, social worker, having clients on the side, and then my bounce entrepreneurship, getting out there. It was just getting started last year. So what I've learned to do is I can't wear all hats at the same time. I have to prioritize and make sure that I'm okay, or I can't serve with my overflow. I take time out for myself. Me and my girlfriend, Carrie, we go and get our nails done, our feet done every so often. Not on a regular, but we do. We take time out to put ourselves first. I've started reading again. You know, I slacked off of that a whole bunch, and now I'm back to it. I'm journaling again, and it's awesome. And I talk to Tasha all the time. So it helps. It really does help to be able to talk out some of the things that you would normally hold in. And because I am that person that everybody feels like they can come to and talk to and dump, I make sure that I'm able to release what I need to release in order to better serve the next person.
For sure. That's so good. That's so good. Because like she said, when you're the recipient of all the things from all the people, you have to take care of everything for everybody. And that's like who she is through and through. She's going to take care of it. She's going to handle it, whether it's really the best for her in that moment. She's still going to handle it for everybody else and then worry about her later. But because she's filled her cup first, she's able to do that. And so being able to remember, like, I matter, I have to fill my cup to serve from my overflow. It's a constant thing, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you have to constantly remember, like, okay, what do I have to do for me? Which obviously you can't go get your nails and stuff done right now, but doing the journaling and all that stuff, like, people kind of poo-poo that, but journaling and dumping out of your brain all of those things that swarm around in there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
And
huge.
during this quarantine, man, I miss my parents so much. We go over there every day. I talk to my parents multiple times a day. So my cup was really, really low one day, missing them through this quarantine. And I knew I couldn't be in their home. So I got the kids together and we just made signs. You know, it was a part of our day to make signs to say we miss Nanny and Pawpaw, and we just went to the curb, had them come out, and that served me for the next couple of weeks. I mean, I was good that I got to see my parents, threw them some kisses from across the way. But yeah, it doesn't have to be you spending money to fill your cup. Just seeing my parents and smiling and making sure they were okay was enough for me to be able to go home and be nice to my kids and not fuss at them because I miss my parents.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Right. That's huge. That is huge. And, you know, because we do try to overcomplicate things. Well, I can't go and do. And so then people feel like you can't do anything. No, what can you do? We've talked about that before on Victory Talk. What can I do? Maybe this and that doesn't work, but what can I do? And even with the what can I do, you started journaling with your kids.
Absolutely.
During quarantine.
Yes, we were, cover my six is what we call ourselves because we cover each other's back. Miss Lena, hi baby, Carrie and Latasha. I seen them every morning journaling or reading, or I'm like, you know what, that's a good idea. So that's something that I was able to take from the close-knit group that we have. And I started journaling, and then my kids were like, well, Mommy, what are you doing? So we took a road trip, we got on our masks, so we went to the store, and they got to choose their own journals, and they were so excited to journal. I mean, in my oldest, it just touched my heart that even she wanted to journal, and she was so excited. So that was huge for me. So thank you again.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That is huge. And so just to give you a glimpse of how you can walk out victoriously no matter what things look like, no matter if we're in a pandemic, quarantine type situation, there are still things you can do. There are ways that you can walk out victoriously because it matters first at home first. Matters most at home first. And so I'm so grateful that you shared just the parts with your kids because Gabriel is 9 and Caleb is 6, right?
Right.
And so having elementary students plus an adult in the home and being able to bring everybody in and say, these are the things that you can do to really serve yourself before they're out there in the world is huge.
Right.
So good job, Mom.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So fast forward, let's talk about the whole police thing then with the police hat. So with you being able to, be the chief of the charter schools and you thought, let me take on this baby and start this whole thing along with then very soon after your entrepreneurship as a Kangoo instructor, just really being able to not be or not allowing yourself to be complacent in what you were doing, knowing that there was a next best yes for you, and talk a little bit about those decisions and what that looked like.
It was hard. Being with a department as Indiana State Police and being there 9 years, I was comfortable. So when I was offered a position that I had no clue about, I was thrown off a little bit, and I was just like, God, is this you talking to me? Should I step away with something that's already here, already set, versus me stepping out on faith and having to build something from the ground up? So I was a little afraid, to tell you the truth, but my God is bigger. He pushed me a couple times because I stepped back and I'm like, you're comfortable. You're moving up in rank. You're with the state police. But I also know God said that's just not enough. You have more to offer. And even though I wore that badge, I spent a lot of time in the schools and my heart was with the children. And I didn't get to do that every day with the state police. Before work one day, I went to a high five rally that my pastor used to do. He still might do it. I'm not for sure if they're doing it next year or not. But so a little boy walked in and he was just having a bad day and dropped to the floor, and I dropped to the floor with him, and my pastor snapped a picture, and I didn't know that picture went viral. So it spun really quickly. Me being offered a position to start a police department at a school, it was a no-brainer, but it was also scary because God puts us in positions that we don't have a clue that that's where we're going, but He knows. My name was being spoken in rooms that I had not a clue.
Yes.
So I got myself together, got up for the challenge, and I accepted it. It has been awesome opportunity. I've learned so much. The things that I thought I knew, no, baby, you didn't know. So I'm still 2 years in now, getting hit with things that I feel like knocked me back a couple spaces, but I'm able to pick up the phone and get some answers that I need or do the research that I need on my own and make it work. In the process of all of that, another way I fill my cup is to Kangoo Bounce. I was introduced to bouncing Kangoo probably about 6 years ago from my sister-in-law, Aisha. She's still bouncing as well. So I started bouncing, and oh my gosh, it's a stress reliever. I love it, I love it, I love it. And all in the midst of it, I get to lose weight too, so I'm all for it. And then that circled around. My children used to go to Kangoo Bounce classes with me, and they used to sit in the back of the classroom, and I used to always hear them say, I want to bounce, I want to do it, on the way home. And so several years later, I'm like, they want to bounce. There's kids' shoes for them to bounce. So I went and got certified to start children's classes. We did that. We still have children's classes to this day. I do after school programs. But then the adults were like, oh, wait, we want to bounce too. So I started bouncing with adults, and it has just been such a blessing, such a good sisterhood and brotherhood, just an inspiration. Even on days that my legs is like, ooh, no, Precious, you need to sit down. Just walking into class and seeing everybody's face and how everybody's all pumped up and ready to go, it just gets me going. And I'm like, let's go, let's put in work. So.
And thank you for your yes to that. Because I'm telling you, that Kangoo Bounce class has given me my life all over again. You talk about me being the thing that's going to fuel all the rest of the things that I'm called to do. I have to take care of me first. And Precious kicks my butt to do so. She
try
does
my
not.
best.
Yeah, she does not let me slack on myself when I'm like, no, my legs are not doing it today. She's like, yeah, they are.
Yes, they are.
So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yes, and you know, I'm really excited to be able to have a front row seat to watch you walk out all these things and be part of, you know, my projecting my coaching on you. It's kind of hard for people to be in my circle and me not coach you because it's just who I am. But she's receptive and she's coachable.
I am.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Even on days if she's telling me something I don't want to hear, I'm like, yeah, Tosh, I know. And she'll leave me alone for a second, but then somehow it'll come back up. Well, you remember we didn't finish. I'm like, yes, I know, Tosh.
Possibly.
So I'm really appreciative of your walk and the way that you lead. So
My pleasure. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. So thank you all again for tuning in to Victory Talk once again. Thank you again, Chief Jones, for joining us
Thank you.
on the Victory Talk set and just giving us another glimpse of how you can walk out victoriously no matter what you've been called to, and not to shrink back from what it is because it feels like it's a lot of work. You feel like you're unsure, but just like you heard her say, she didn't know. She had not a clue how to do the next thing, and she just knew all she had to do was give a yes, and her God was bigger. And
oh my gosh,
absolutely believe the same. So again, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to LaTosha White on all social media, LaToshaWhite.com, and download that app, y'all, GIVIN LLC. Hi, LaTosha White here. I want to thank all of you for continuing to follow me on social media at LaTosha White. But what I really want to bring to y'all right now is the brand new app in your Google Play Store or your Apple App Store. It is GIVIN, GIVIN LLC. And that's where you'll find all of your victory talks, all of your inspiration, and just go download the free app. And so you can stay in contact, get your push notifications. When I have new classes, you'll be the first to get notified. GIVIN LLC.